We're back here with the old 84 Chevy C10. Let's see if we can give it a tune-up and make it run better. At least that's the plan. Well, I went and got a new set of spark plugs and plug leads. So let's go ahead and take that all apart and get those installed. The spark plug wires, when I took them apart originally, two of them actually just fell apart. So I guarantee that's probably not helping with how it runs. So we'll go ahead and get those put on and then see what else we need to do to make it run better. One thing I did just discover after I pulled everything apart for the air cleaner, which having all the original emissions control stuff on it's kind of obnoxious, but at least it's all intact, is still a bunch of spider webs and grunginess down here. So while we're all in here, we're going to take a look at all the vacuum lines because I guarantee you some of them are split. You know, it's old stuff. Like this, for instance, I just looked. All of these vacuum hoses are completely rotted and destroyed. So we're going to have to get some vacuum hoses and start replacing those because there's a bunch of splits in here and that's causing a big vacuum leak and that'll make it run not great. So the plan of attack is going to be I'm going to take one spark plug out, put a brand new one in, and then put that plug wire back on. Then once all the spark plugs are replaced, I want to take out the spark plug wires that I got and then start to match up size, because routing these plug wires, you know, they go up, around, under. It's kind of a pain. But I could always just take them all apart and then, you know, match the firing order. But for now, I'm just going to do it this way. It's just a little bit easier for now. All the spark plugs have now been replaced. So now we get to play the fun game of match the spark plug wire. This one does have all of its original spark plug wire hold downs, so I'm going to try and retain as much of that as I can. One really interesting thing, it's kind of a shame I'm going to have to replace them all because they're so cracked, but all of the original vacuum lines are still color coded to match this diagram. So it's really cool to see. It's unfortunate it's going to have to get changed, but it's really neat to see how original it is and all the original GM part numbers and everything on it. It's pretty wild. Went ahead and got all the spark plug wires changed out. I'll tell you what, on the driver's side, up underneath the manifold where they run around, that is a real pain. Takes quite a bit of time. So now, I got 10 feet of vacuum hose, so I need to start just slowly, piece by piece, replacing them. Now the trick to do this is you just replace one piece of hose at a time so you don't get lost and confused. So we'll go ahead and do this one. And I have a razor blade to just kind of help along, even knowing a lot of these are cracked and completely destroyed. But you'll find, especially on these like vacuum fittings, you just got to be careful, you know, older brittle plastic, and you don't want to break anything because some of the stuff is probably not super easy to find. So we got this out, and what we'll do is we'll take a piece of hose, cut it to fit, and just keep going down the line. I got a fair amount of the vacuum hoses that were really split and bad. There's a few of them that go into these junction blocks that are kind of a pain to deal with. I don't want to touch them yet because I really do not want those things to fall apart. So let's see if the spark plugs and plug wires and fixing some vacuum leaks helped it run better. I hope. Let's find out. Make sure it's in neutral. Oh yeah, that's cherry. It still has a very small hesitation, but like I say, we're probably gonna have to get into the Quadrajet and clean it up and put new accelerator pump cup in and tune it up a little bit, but that is way better than it was. I topped off the coolant, put the air cleaner back on, and yeah, let's see if we can take it for a drive up and down my road. Remember, it's like I said in the first video, This thing's been sitting for 21 years, so it's the first time it's really ran, and it's definitely the first time it's been driven in a long time. So all we're gonna do is just go up and down my road. Wow, this thing is so solid. Steering is tight, clutch feels great. This truck is impressive. That's all I can say. It's incredible. Well, it appears now that I drove it up and down the road and got a little bit warm, the radiator has a leak. So, looks like I'm going to be putting a radiator in this thing. This is the kind of stuff that you just honestly expect when you got vehicles that sit for such a long time and you bring them back to life, and it happens. Well, I'm impressed. This truck is, it honestly blows my mind. The steering is super tight, the suspension, 106,000 miles, and it just shows, these lower mileage trucks, yeah, it's been sitting for a long time, but I'm glad we were able to get it running. It runs really smooth. The carburetor definitely is probably going to need to have some work done because it's been sitting for such a long time, but it's incredible. This thing blows my mind. So now we're going to have to figure out the gauges, clean up the interior, make it look really nice, and then on to body work and tires. It's definitely going to need tires. But just a little bit at a time. That's what makes these things get going and get them back on the road. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and catch you on the next video.